Hey everybody. Hope everybody's had a restful break, unexpected break, but um, per my email this morning, we're just going to go ahead and roll out the kind of last part of Project 1, or else we're going to start to fall behind. Not not the most ideal way to do it, but uh, it is what it is. So um, if you have not looked at the assignment sheet yet, I would go ahead and look at the assignment sheet and read through that before you watch this video, because this video might not make much sense if you don't really know what the project, this last part of this project is. But if you have watched or have read the assignment, then you are in the right place. What I'm going to do in this video is briefly talk about the scale, the architectural scale, the one with the kind of triangle. I can't really get it in the camera. The one with the triangle on the profile of it. I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about kind of where to start, how to get going on this thing, and what exactly we mean by changing the scale. So I've went ahead and grabbed a model that I've made. It's not a widget. It doesn't look like a widget, but we'll kind of work with it and get the point across. So your architectural scale, which all of you should have. This is an architectural scale, and we can tell because it's got these measurements on it: 3/8, 1 1/2, 3 3/4, 1/4, 1/8, 1/2, and 1, and then 3/32 and 3/16. So architectural scales are scaled in fractional increments. Engineering scales, some of you, I hope none of you bought an engineering scale, but if these numbers, instead of saying 1/2 and 1 or 1/4 and 1/8, say something like 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 1 to 50, 1 to 100, that's an engineering scale. If you have one of those, I don't know what to tell you. Borrow one from a friend for the time being or something, or just go and buy an architectural scale, because this architectural scale is what we'll be using for kind of your entire career. So you need one of these. These are important. So on this scale, which you guys have probably started using these scales, but more just for your kind of typical ruler, from 1 inch to 12 inches, or 0 to 12 inches. You'll notice this number here, 16. That tells you that we are in 1 to 16 scale, or this could be broken down to 1/16 scale. I think in the assignment, I don't have the assignment on me right now. I believe we were going 1/8 inch scale. Okay, yeah, sorry, I just had to go check. Yes, we are at 1/8 inch scale. So the side that you need to flip your scale to is the one where it says 1/8 and 1/4. So if you flip your scale to that side of 1/8 and 1/4, that's where we need to be at. That's where you're going to spend most of your time with this thing. So in the handout, it says measure your model at 1/8 inch equals 1 foot scale. How big is it now? So previously, again, pretend this is just a normal widget. Previously, you were kind of measuring it as 4 inches, or 5 inches by 3 and 3/8 of an inch. Pretend this is my widget. I'm measuring 5 and 3 and 3/8 of an inch. what we're gonna do now is convert to 1/8 of an inch scale. All you need to do to achieve that is just flip your scale. There's no rebuilding of your model, there's no recalculating things, there's nothing you need to do at all. Just flip to your 1/8 inch scale and start measuring the thing. So when I'm at my 1/8 inch scale, I can start the thing at 0. I line it up with that, and then I read across, and it looks like it's ending, get that lined up, somewhere right after 40. Somewhere between 40 and 26. So I want to make a point here. So what is the difference between a 40 and a 26? Well, if we look on this side, 1/4, the 0 for 1/4 starts on the bottom. That's the kind of lower number physically, not just numerically. Physically, that number is lower on the scale than my 92. That's kind of up higher. So the way we read a scale is 1/4 is the lower numbers measuring this way, and 1/8 are the kind of upper numbers, and we measure this way. So back to measuring this thing. I'm at 0. It looks like I'm hitting right after 40. So we know this piece is about 40 feet. Each one of these numbers represents feet. So 40 feet, that's not 40 inches, that's 40 feet. So now I know I've got a thing that this kind of platform is about 20, a little bit more than 27 feet by a little bit more than 40 feet. By the way, each one of these tick marks is 1 foot. So I knew this is 27 feet because I see 28 there. And then I can go 1 tick mark back, which is 27. 1 tick mark back, 26, 25, and then 24. 24 is labeled. So each one of these tick marks represents 1 foot. But back to this 40-foot measurement. If I've got this piece kind of ending a little bit after that 40 feet, I know that it's 40 feet plus some inches, right? Because it's longer than 40 feet, but it's not quite 41 feet. 40 feet, something inches. What I can do to measure those inches is line up that 40 with the edge of the thing and look back to the left-hand side of my scale and try to get a read on how far it's going in this little mini ruler right here. See to the left of I can't really point to it, but see to the left of the 0, there is a very small few tick marks there. Those are our inches. So if I'm kind of lined up perfectly here, I can see that midway mark. I'm really having trouble pointing to this. That midway mark there is 6 inches. So I can measure here, starting from the 40 on this side, looking backward, I'm at about 40 feet and 6 inches. So, and I can do the same thing here. Let's see, line it up with 27. I look back, it's about 27 feet and 8 inches. So each one of those tick marks is 2 inches. 27 feet, 8 inches. So this is maybe a little bit more kind of technical than we need to get. So I will show you guys how to quickly kind of translate that to a drawing if I could find a pencil, which I don't think I could find a pencil, but I'll just use a green marker. So of course you'll be drafting this, but because I'm at home and don't have a drafting board here, I will just sketch it. But I'm going to show you guys how to draw or how to convert this to a 1/8 inch equals a foot model in the drawing. So I guess maybe a clarification thing. The drawing is not changing to, you're not changing the drawing from a 1 inch equals 1 inch drawing to a 1/8 inch equals 1 foot drawing. You're converting the model. So I guess it's really a kind of mentality change of, you're no longer looking at this as a 4 inch by 4 inch model. You're no longer looking at your widget as a 4 inch by 4 inch model. You're looking at it as a scaled down version of a kind of large, real life sized pavilion. So when you measure at 1/8 inch scale, 4 inches, I'll just use my cutting mat. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna have a 32 foot by 32 foot building. So this is now your model, your widget is now a 32 foot by 32 foot building that you have a kind of scaled down version of. This is really critical to understand as far as your entire kind of architectural or interior design practice. We make models that are, to a scale, to a smaller size, and then we draw them and then we build them. So let me show you how I would draw this thing at 1/8 inch scale, which I think you'll quickly kind of realize, like, oh, okay. So again, we said this is about 27 feet, something like 27 feet 6 inches. Maybe it's a little bit different on the top. Bad craft. So I'm just gonna draw kind of a plan view of just this top platform. So try to find out where the bottom of my page is. So let's go ahead and draw. So we're gonna make a tick mark you never, ever, ever draw on your scale. To be honest with you, I was looking at a few YouTube videos to just show you guys instead of me having to make one myself. I was gonna be lazy. And we didn't know we were gonna have to do this until you guys knew, so. But all of the tutorials I was looking at where they were drawing on their scales. Never, ever, 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 ever draw on your scale, using your scale as a straight edge. That is so dumb. Don't do that, because for one, it will mark up your measurements, your ruler will get all dirty and disgusting. You won't be able to read things. 2, it's going to get ink on this ruler or on this edge of the scale, and then every time you go and set it down, it's going to leave kind of a stamp mark of the wet ink that's on this thing, or graphite too. We all know how easily that can happen. And then 3, anytime you, well, I'm not going to do it to my scale, but every time you drop this thing, it will get tiny little nicks and bumps and scratches in the edge of that thing. Like you can see there, there's kind of, you can even see my pen kind of move. There's a little scratch there. So you never, ever want to draw on the edge of your scale. Don't ever do that. I can't make a big enough deal about that. Okay, so 27 feet and 6 inches. So I'm just going to start in an arbitrary place. You guys will start in a very specific and measured place. And you'd be doing this with a parallel bar too. 27 feet, 6 inches. I'll make a mark at 6 inches, and I'll make a mark at 27 feet. Okay. There's that edge. Come back to my thing. What do we say this was? 40 feet. 40 feet, 6 inches. So I'm going to 40. And I'll make a mark at 6 inches. Okay. All right, now using your parallel bar, right, and your triangle, you could just kind of finish this thing out. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay. So now I'm going to get this little window in here. There's my 1/8 inch scale. So it looks like we're over 12 feet at the start of that gap, and that's an 8-foot gap. So 4 feet over, start the line, 8 feet over, another line. Four feet over, there's a line, another 8 feet, there's a line. And then we're going about 3 feet up. So there's 3 feet. And 13 feet down. So there's 12, 13 feet down. Oops, I kind of missed it. That's okay. Don't do what I just did. And here's my hole. Let's see, that other dot was there. Okay. So now I've drawn this face at 1/8 inch scale. What do we notice about what I just drew compared to this thing? It is the same thing. It is the same scale of drawing. This appears that it's just the same exact thing as this. That's because it is the same exact thing. But we are measuring at 1/8 inch scale. We're measuring at 1/8 inch scale. So this is not a 3 3/8 of an inch edge. This is a 27'6" edge, just scaled way down. I think making that kind of switch flip in your head is very, very important, very critical for what we're doing. So now the assignment asks you to do other things like add in windows, add in a seat, add in a floor pattern, a tree, and a scale figure. So what you're gonna do is now look at this as a building, as a pavilion. So everything that you draw, let's say that I want to draw a chair, and I measure a chair, and my chair is 1.5, well, let me actually do it. Can I get this? Oh, you can't see that. You almost can. My chair is about 13 inches in diameter. Is that really? Is that a small chair? Yeah, it's about 13 inches in diameter. Ooh, very dirty. So if I've got a 13-inch chair, that means that in this drawing, let's say that I want to put a chair outside. In this drawing, I will make 13 inches. There's my 13-inch stool that I just drew, and it's got 4 little legs. So now I just drew that stool in plan. I'm looking down at the top of the stool. It's a 13-inch in diameter stool with 4 legs. So I've measured it to be 13 inches with my scale. Let's say that I want to draw a tree with a canopy that's about 25 feet, which I'd say is a good kind of medium-sized tree. So if I want a tree with a canopy of 25 feet, I look at my 1/8 inch, and I'm in 1/8 inch scale. Look at my 1/8 inch. There's 25 feet. Now, I can draw a tree that's 25 feet in diameter. Show the little trunk there. So this is not it might seem weird to turn this into a scale, but once you start, and this is kind of the point of the project really, once you start adding in these other things like trees, scale figures, furniture, it starts to make sense why we're in a scale. Because it makes no sense for me to draw a 3-inch tree, but it makes sense for me to draw a 25-foot tree. When you do this thing in section, it's being drawn the exact same way. You know, think about how tall a chair is. It's about 1.5 feet. And I've got my 13-inch top. There's my legs for my chair. So the next thing I want to talk about is going to 16th inch scale. So it says for the elevations that you'll need to go to 16th inch scale. How to do that? Because we know this model is in 1/8 inch scale, and it's 40 feet 6 inches. We've now got to convert that into 16th inch scale for the elevation drawings. So your 16th inch scale actually is your normal kind of inch increment ruler. But now every single one of these tick marks is 1 foot. So once you get to your 1 inch mark, once you get to this one, that's 16 feet. That's what 16 means. So we're at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's our half inch, 8 feet, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 feet. And then it goes up from there, 32 feet, 64 feet. So if I've got a 40 foot model, 40 foot 6 inch model, that means that I need to get to 32 feet plus another 8 feet to get to 40. So 32 feet, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So this line is where 40 feet is at. Oh, it bleeds. Do you see all that? Kind of disappointed. The sketchbook is nice and the paper's good, but it didn't bleed before with other pens. Like, look how much ink I put down on that, and it didn't bleed through. Well, it did maybe a little bit, but it didn't bleed through. And then, so I guess it's the pen's fault. I don't know if it's the pen's fault or the paper's fault, whatever. It is a good sketchbook though. I would recommend these. Which way am I looking? This way. These people. Good brand. But okay. 40 feet. We said we're at 2.5 inches. Well, 32 feet plus 8. So 0, make a tick mark. 32, 33, 44, 45, 40. There's my 40 foot line, and then I said like 27 or something, so 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27. So there's 27 feet. And then I've got the little hole, which is, what did I say, 12 feet, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm not going to bore you with measuring the rest of it, but okay, there's that hole. So converting from 1/8 to 1/16 scale is really easy. You just have to basically take your measurements at 1/8 inch and then flip to your 1/16 inch and treat each of these tick marks as 1 foot. So once you start kind of getting in that flow of working with the scale, this project should go very quickly. What I would maybe ask for Tuesday is that you get the thing drawn. Get the thing drawn in scale, learn how to use your scale, get that thing drawn correctly. Take a look at the PowerPoint that has been posted. That kind of walks you through some of the basic elements, some of the things that the assignment's asking you to do, like scale figures, windows, doors, things of that nature. I would say if you feel comfortable adding those things in, if you feel like you understand the PowerPoint and you want to go for it, I say go for it. But if you don't feel comfortable, which is totally fine, I would say pause until Tuesday, and we can go through that PowerPoint and talk a little bit more on Tuesday about some of those things that are going to be elements, kind of drawn architectural elements. Yeah, but for now, I would say by Tuesday, I think it'd be a good goal to try to get your thing mostly drawn, or at least mostly kind of construction lined out and laid out, so we can work on Tuesday with some of those other elements. But yeah, that's using your scale. Thanks, everybody.